welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we are going to be talking about turn order. So we're going to be going through some of the most important squads in the game and which order you should have your characters in regards to speed to see how you can get the best results. Now, some of you might be asking why my face is over here in the lower right-hand corner, and the reason for that is because I need to show off some pretty cool things that are really awesome. First off, thank you everyone who has subbed or liked or shared or been a part of our YouTube community. Anyway, we hit 1K subs, which is a really big deal for YouTube. I just want to take a small, 15 seconds or whatever this is to thank everyone. It does mean a lot and it does actually matter. It's not just an arbitrary milestone. It actually does have effects for me. So really appreciate you guys and really can't say it enough. Other thing I have been meaning to do as well. Thank you to all my patrons. This is something we started recently. So Org, Emo Kid Skills, Canuck, Dufane. Thank you as well for supporting the YouTube channel, the podcast, as well as our Twitch streams. You guys are really awesome and I appreciate everything you do. So that being said, let's go ahead and get back to the core of the video here, and that is these teams and how they need to be ordered. So you can probably already notice here by the way that we have them set up, we don't really plan on using Queel or Piet lead. What I've done with the teams is I've put them in the order that they should already be in. So something I should say as we're starting out this video as well, this is not going to be a really intense math stream. We're not going to go in and do all the calculations and all the scenarios of how you need to have, for example, your troopers modded to be able to get the best results. And it just ends up being really complicated, and there are actually some other resources out there that I'll mention that can help that. So all we're trying to do today is have a simple guide for you to look into your own roster, for you to sort the characters you're looking at by speed. So let's say we're going over Imperial, we're going to go over Imperial Troopers first. What I want you guys to do when you tag along in this video, open up your Imperial Troopers, sort by speed, and see if the 5 or 6 characters that we're talking about fall in the order that they're going to be shown in this video. That really is the best way you can do it, and it'll be really simple. Won't have to have you breaking out a bunch of different calculators. But yeah, so that being said, the first team we're going to be looking at is going to be Piet. Piet needs to be his fastest on his team unless you're going kind of with the easier route with Gideon, because Gideon has a higher base speed. After that, you really want Stark. Stark really gets out the buffs, and he allows you to have much slower characters after him because he gives out so many buffs on top of Emperor's Trap. So for example, our Stark is only at 305 speed, and then our range drops down to less than 50 speed below him. And the reason why that works is because Stark gives out a lot of buffs on his turn, and it really branches everything rather than having him way down here. Range is next just because you get extra Emperor's Trap stacks for when Dark eventually hits and then just destroys everyone. And the reason why Veers really has to be last here is because Veers has this really annoying thing on his basic where he will give speed up, which is also a buff to a random character, and that can really screw up the turn meter or the turn order of everything, and it can make a lot of counters with Imperial Troopers a lot harder. Second team we're going to go ahead and look at are Bounty Hunters. Bounty Hunters can be used for a variety of things. Obviously, this current comp is not going to be what is used to take out Lord Vader. No Fennec there pretty much says that right away. And interestingly enough, the fastest character also just happens to be the leader, or the one that needs to be the fastest. And that is going to be Bosk. Bosk is the one who's going to get everything started. He's going to start with his Frenzy that can immediately get triggered by Grieve, who's going to be next. And then the two of them can just automatically destroy a team or immediately get contract, depending on if you're using Boss Lead, or really if you're going to use Aura Lead. That's the reason why she's in this team, because with Aura Lead, you don't need to have access to the weakest character. You can just go ham on whoever it is. So that being said, our Bosk, we're not, basically what I'm showing here is Bosk is 312, and Grieve is 310. You want them as close as possible. It doesn't matter if you're working with a 250 Bosk, make Grieve like 248. Don't have them staggered too far apart or have a bunch of characters in between them, because then you lose that really cool mechanic of Frenzy, Mass Attack, Instant Contract, Mando gets to kill someone. Zame actually doesn't matter. I put her here just for looksies, but she can actually be anywhere in this entire list. It doesn't really matter. Her being faster is good. It's arguably great, but it's not the most important thing. The reason why Aura has to be a little bit faster than Mando is because if you're doing the one specific counter where you're trying to snipe out Cat, she needs to be able to take a turn, because Bosk is only going to take one turn. He's going to go right for his mass attack because he can't gain turn meter because Jedi Master Kunwei doesn't allow that, and you don't get contract because you don't take 10 turns if Aura isn't faster than Mando. you don't really want to follow any of what I just said, just make sure she's faster than Mando and call it good. And then Mando does need to be slowest on the team. He will make up for that very quickly once he starts critting everyone, and he should be able to snipe someone as soon as he gets a turn, so that's pretty cool. Next team we're going to be looking at is the BAM team. This one is, again, very similar mechanics. You're going to have a character go off that's just going to get everyone flying right out the gate with turn meter, and that is going to be Quill. He needs to be fastest. After that, it needs to be Bam, and the reason why Bam needs to go next is because he is going to start his whistling birds. He's going to go into what we call his poopy stance. After that, you need a bunch of AoEs, and the reason why we have IG-11 listed next is because he has tenacity down on his AoE. So regardless of the next two characters you have next, they're probably going to have AoEs with debuffs. That's really what we should be aiming for here. Both Dengar and Nest, they do that. Nest has Daisy can also drop back their turn meter, which is really great. I should have said this towards the beginning of when we went into this team. These last two teams are kind of open. They don't exactly have to be Nest or Dengar. They can pretty much be any scoundrel with an AoE. I like these two characters a lot. Nest pushing back turn meter, and then Dengar applying thermals that when they explode give your entire team turn meter because of Bam lead. They're very good, but just make sure you have this turn order: Quill, Bam, IG, and then two AoE scoundrels, and you'll be just fine. Next up on our list, this is actually a very new team to me. We're going to open up our mods here, and you guys might see that a lot of them are going to kind of be a mess. And the reason for that is just because, like I said, it's a new team. I haven't really finished modding it yet. So obviously the fastest character, and I think this probably goes without saying, has to be Mara Jade. She is the one who's going to get everything going as far as the turn meter train goes for her and Palpatine. She's going to go first. She's going to have to get her tenacity down at. She's going to want to get shock on every single one, because that really is what generates Machine Gun Palp. After that, you want to have Palp next fastest, and mine currently isn't there. He's probably going to have to be switched to a speed set. I'm waiting until Visas gets to gear 13 before I really put them in their proper turn order, because trying to do it with her at gear 11 just is not going to work. That being said, yeah, you would definitely want Palpatine faster, because how this is going to work is he's going to get a stun immediately after Mara's going to go. Then Visas can go and she can get her defense penetration out to the entire team. And then Palp will get to go into his little machine mode when he has defense penetration, offense up, and he's just going to end up doing a lot of damage. Not to mention, after all that as well, Starkiller, who already hits really, really hard because of, reasons, is going to hit even harder, because if he goes right after Visas, he's going to have the defense penetration up on top of all, the crit damage or his modding offense or whatever. We do have Old Ben last. He's just kind of there because, this can be Old Ben, this can be Barris, this can be GK. He just doesn't affect really the turn order. The other four are much more important in where they go, just because of how the defense penetration is going to get put out and or how effective it's going to be when you're able to kill them all. So last but not least, we're going to go over Mon Mothman. This one is just a little bit more complicated. Probably what everyone is looking right now is, why is Pow in second place? And Pow arguably needs to be in first place, because how this whole team is going to work off of his Kyle Katarn. Yeah, like I said, my mods are kind of a mess right now. Kyle Katarn, you typically want him somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 270, 280, because he gains 30% turn meter from this unique here from other Rebel fighter allies. In 5v5, he'll have 3 other characters there. So he's already going to be naturally going fastest. However, his speed doesn't have to be that high because of the 30% turn meter. The next most important character really on this team is going to be Pow, and the reason is, Pow is going to naturally get 5% turn meter for every character who uses the basic. So if Kyle Katarn is on defense, he's not going to win the basic, which in this case, Pow really should actually be number 1 on this team. But I'm going to be experimenting using this team a lot on offense, where Kyle Katarn can't choose to use his basic on his first move. So Pow's going to get 20% turn meter, which is going to pump him up to go next. And now you're probably asking me, Calvin, why do I care that Pow goes second? None of this really matters. This team just gets a lot of turn meter, whatever. And the reason why we want both Kyle Katarn and Pow to go right out the gate, and we don't want that to be subject to RNG, so to speak, is because Hoth Rebel Scout, who is really the turn meter generator on this team, only has a 40% chance to give 25% turn meter for all allies. Because if you just have, let's say, Kyle Katarn super fast, you've got him like 300, 280 speed, whatever, and he goes first, he gets things going, everybody assists, and then you don't get that 40% chance, you don't get the turn meter, and then the enemy team just comes in and blows you away. We really, really want to avoid that. So having Pow be the second fastest, when he gains that 20% turn meter, is going to be very close behind Kyle Katarn. He really does need to be faster than Kyle Katarn, because Kyle gets 30, he gets 20, 30 is more than 20, math. He's going to give you a second shot at getting Hoth Rebel Scout to give turn meter. And then of course Kara is the one that needs to be naturally the fastest, because she doesn't have any of her own unique turn meter. Like, she can get turn meter from Hoth Rebel Scout, but she really is going to live or die a little bit more in speed. We only have her at 300 though. Again, this whole team, Kyle Katarn, if he's at 280, he's going close to a near effective 400 speed. So that's really what allows this team to still stay relevant nowadays. But yeah, those are the 5 teams that I believe are the most important for turn order. There are other teams that this list doesn't end here, but I thought that these would be the most fun or most important to go over today. So let me know what you think. Let me know which characters you use, and of course, let me know which teams I missed. Until the next time, remember to like and subscribe, and stay awesome.